They say that revenge is a dish best served cold. But I disagree. I think revenge is a dish best served at a wedding. Specifically, at the wedding of the woman who destroyed your life 5 years ago. I am standing in the back of this beautiful, expensive church. Everyone here is dressed in silk and diamonds. The flowers hanging from the ceiling cost more than my first apartment. And there, at the front, is Sarah. She looks perfect in her white lace dress. She is smiling at her billionaire fiancé, Mark. She thinks she has won. She thinks she got away with it. But I am standing here with a small, brown envelope in my hand. Inside this envelope is a truth so dark that it will burn this wedding to the ground in less than 60 seconds. Sarah stole my past. She stole my love. She stole my trust. But today, I am going to take her future. Before this video ends, you will see exactly how I destroyed her perfect life. Am I a bad person? Or is this finally justice? Listen closely, because this story starts with a betrayal you won't believe. Sarah and I weren't just friends. We were sisters. Or at least, I thought we were. We met when we were 10 years old. We shared everything, clothes, secrets, even our food. When my parents passed away in a car accident when I was 19, Sarah's family was my only support. I trusted her more than I trusted myself. Then came Jason. I met Jason at a coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday. He was everything a woman wants. Kind, intelligent, and he had a smile that could light up a dark room. We fell in love fast. Very fast. 2 years later, on our anniversary, he took me to the beach, got down on one knee, and asked me to marry him. I was the happiest woman in the world. And who was the first person I called? Sarah. She cried with me on the phone. She said, "I'm so happy for you, honey. You deserve this." She became my maid of honor. She helped me choose my wedding dress. She helped me pick the flowers. But while she was holding my hand during the day, she was holding my fiancé's hand at night. I started to feel something was wrong. It was a cold feeling in my stomach. Sometimes when Jason and I were watching a movie, I would catch Sarah looking at him. It wasn't a look of friendship. It was a look of hunger. I told myself I was crazy. I told myself, she is your sister. She loves you. I was so blind. I was so incredibly stupid. It happened on a Friday. I was supposed to be in a different city for a work conference. It was a 3-day trip, but I finished my work early. I wanted to surprise Jason. I wanted to have a romantic weekend before our wedding. I bought a bottle of expensive wine and his favorite chocolate. I drove home, singing along to the radio, thinking about our future. When I reached our apartment, the lights were very low. I thought Jason was sleeping. I opened the door quietly, trying not to make a sound. But then I heard it. Laughter. It was a high, soft laugh. Sarah's laugh. My heart stopped. My hands started to shake. I walked toward our bedroom. The door was halfway open. And there they were. Jason, the man I was going to marry in 3 weeks, and Sarah, my sister. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the wine bottle. I just stood there, paralyzed. When they saw me, Jason looked like he had seen a ghost. But Sarah? Sarah just pulled the blanket up and smiled. A small, cruel smile. "Oh, you're back early," she said. No apology. No shame. Jason tried to speak, but Sarah stopped him. She looked at me and said, "Let's be honest, Jane. Jason is too good for you. He needs someone with more energy, someone more successful. You should just leave now." That night, I didn't just lose my husband-to-be. I lost my childhood, my friendship, and my home. I moved out that same night. I blocked them both. I didn't cry in front of them. I waited until I was in my car, and then I screamed until my throat was sore. I left that city and promised myself I would never look back. I spent 5 years building a new life. A successful life. But some wounds never heal. They just wait for the right time to bleed. 5 years passed like a blur. I became a senior manager at a top firm. I worked 18 hours a day to forget their faces. And I did forget. Until 4 months ago. An invitation arrived at my office. It was thick, gold embossed, and very heavy. Sarah was getting married. Again. But this time, it wasn't to a simple man like Jason. She was marrying Mark Harrington. If you live in this city, you know the name Harrington. He is a billionaire. He owns half the skyline. He is also famous for being a very traditional man. He values honesty above everything because his first wife had cheated on him and stolen his money. The next day, Sarah called me. I hadn't heard her voice in half a decade, but it still made my skin crawl. "I heard you're doing well, Jane," she said, her voice dripping with fake kindness. "But I'm doing better. I'm marrying Mark. I want you to be there. I want you to see what a real billionaire wedding looks like. I'll even pay for your flight. It's the least I can do after. Well, you know." She was bragging. She wanted to rub her success in my face. She wanted to show me that even after what she did, she still won. She wanted me to be her bridesmaid, so I could watch her walk into a life of luxury. I looked at the invitation. I looked at the golden letters. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt a spark of fire in my heart. "I'll be there, Sarah," I said softly. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I accepted the invitation, but I didn't start packing my bags. I started digging. I knew Sarah. She was a girl who lived for the likes on Instagram. She wanted to look like a queen even when she had $0 in her pocket. I knew that behind her gold-plated invitation and her billionaire fiancé, there was a lie waiting to be found. I called an old friend, Maya. Maya works for a high-end credit collection agency. She spends her days tracking down people who spend money they don't have. "Maya," I said, "I need a favor. Can you look into Sarah Miller? She's about to marry Mark Harrington." Maya whistled over the phone. "The Harrington wedding? Everyone's talking about that. Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes turned into an hour. When Maya called back, her voice sounded different. It sounded shocked. "Jane," she said, "your friend is a professional liar. She has over $50,000 in hidden credit card debt. She has 10 different cards from 5 different banks. She's been buying designer jewelry, clothes, and even business-class flights just to look like she belongs in Mark's world. But here's the crazy part. She's been using Mark's secondary business account, which he gave her for emergencies, to pay off only the minimum interest. She isn't actually paying the debt. She's just hiding it under a mountain of new lies." My heart started to race. I knew Mark Harrington's reputation. He was a self-made man. He had started his business in a small garage. He hated 2 things, laziness and dishonesty. His first wife had lied to him about her gambling addiction and almost destroyed his company. Now, Sarah was doing the exact same thing. She was a ticking time bomb in a white dress, and I was the only one with the clock. The day of the wedding arrived. It was a beautiful Saturday in late spring. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and Sarah Miller was preparing to become a billionaire's wife. The wedding was at a massive private estate in the countryside. There were security guards at the gate and expensive black cars everywhere. I walked in wearing a simple, elegant black dress. I didn't want to look like a bridesmaid. I wanted to look like an assassin. I went to the bride's dressing room first. Sarah was sitting in front of a giant mirror. 3 people were doing her hair and makeup. She looked at me through the mirror and gave me a fake smile. "Oh, Jane, you actually came," she said, her voice full of pride. "Isn't this dress amazing? It cost $80,000. Mark wanted me to have the best. Because, he thinks I'm the most honest, pure woman he's ever met." I walked closer to her and whispered in her ear, "You look expensive, Sarah. Truly. I hope you enjoy every second of today." "I will," she snapped. "Now leave. I need to get ready for my new life. A life you will never have." I walked out of the room, smiling to myself. I had the brown envelope tucked under my arm. Inside were the bank statements, the legal notices, and the proof that Sarah had been stealing from Mark's business account. It was time to find the groom. I found Mark in his private study. He was standing by the window, looking out at the gardens. He looked nervous. Even billionaires get scared before they say I do. "Mr. Harrington?" I said softly. He turned around. "Yes. Are you with the catering team?" "No," I said, stepping into the room. "I'm Jane. I'm an old friend of Sarah's. I have something for you. Think of it as a wedding gift that will save you a lot of money in the future." He looked confused. "A gift?" Sarah told me she didn't have many friends from her past. "I'm sure she did," I replied. I handed him the brown envelope. "Please, Mark, before you walk down that aisle, just read the first 3 pages. Especially the parts about the secondary business account." Mark took the envelope. He opened it slowly. At first, his face was calm. Then, I watched as the blood drained from his skin. His eyes moved fast across the papers. He saw the numbers. He saw the dates. He saw the names of the banks. He looked up at me, his eyes full of a cold, dark anger. "Is this real?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Every word," I said. "She isn't the woman you think she is, Mark. She's the woman who stole my fiancé 5 years ago, and now she's trying to steal your legacy." He didn't say thank you. He didn't say anything. He just sat down at his desk and stared at the papers. I walked out of the room. My job was done. Now, I just had to wait for the show to begin. The music started. The wedding march played on a grand piano. The church doors opened, and Sarah began her walk. She looked like a queen. Everyone stood up. They were all looking at her with admiration. She reached the altar and took Mark's hands. The priest began to speak. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." But Mark wasn't looking at the priest. He was looking at Sarah. When it was time to say the vows, Mark didn't say "I do." Instead, he reached into his jacket and pulled out the bank statements I had given him. "Sarah," he said, his voice echoing through the silent church, "who is the owner of this credit card ending in 4092? Sarah's face went from white to gray. "Mark, what are you doing?" "Not now. I'm asking you a question." Mark shouted. The guests gasped. "Did you, or did you not, use my business funds to pay off $50,000 of your personal debt while telling me you were debt-free?" Sarah started to cry. "Mark, I can explain. I just wanted to look good for you. I didn't want you to think I was poor." "You didn't just want to look good," Mark said, his voice full of disgust. "You lied. You stole. You are exactly like the woman I ran away from 10 years ago." He looked at the priest. "The wedding is over. Everyone, please go home." Sarah fell to her knees, screaming and crying. She looked into the crowd and saw me sitting in the front row. Our eyes met. I didn't scream. I didn't celebrate. I just gave her a small, slow nod. I stood up and walked toward the exit. As I passed the wedding cake, a 5-tier masterpiece that had never been cut, I took a small piece of chocolate from the top and ate it. It was cold. It was sweet. It was perfect. 5 years ago, Sarah took my past. Today, I took her future. Was I wrong? Or was this the only way the story could end? You tell me in the comments.